Yeah, pretty. It's time already.
I won't have a moon face.
A moon face? What is it about the moon?
And we are live.
Hello. Hello. She's exhausted. We're all kind of like emotionally exhausted from our prayer today. Hello, everybody.
We had a good prayer meeting today.
Yeah, we had a really good prayer meeting. Everybody was just praying so hard. It was great.
Yeah.
I hope everybody's having a great weekend so far.
Mm-hmm. It's
daylight
59
savings
degrees here in
Yeah,
Minnesota.
you know.
59?
Yes,
Wow.
59.
It's toasty up there.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. We might not have as many people because I think there's still some people who don't even realize
The time change.
Yeah.
I forgot all about it this year. I was like, I got up and the computer, when I turned the computer on, the time was off. I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
It was daylight savings today.
Yeah. So I'm sure there's going to be a few people that are going to come in an hour late, and that's okay.
That's all right.
You can always go back and rewind. You've got some over there.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for Jody. Jody showed up for prayer, so she knows what time it is.
We got people on YouTube. We got people on Rumble. We got people on X.
Yeah. Okay. So that's good.
So
I was actually on an hour early.
Well, wait a minute.
What?
What'd you say?
I was actually on an hour early.
I know.
Yeah, I know, because she didn't know. She didn't know.
Yeah. So welcome to Bible Prophecy and Truth. My name is Dan. This is my wife, Colleen. She is co-hosting and chat moderating, and our sister in Christ, Diane, up in Minnesota via Zoom. We're going to talk about world news and prophecy, how it all relates, and how, everything going on today is really biblical prophecy coming to pass.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about that as we roll through. And I'm going to make the announcement again. Within the next week or so, we are going to start a full Revelation study. So,
yes.
I'll be announcing the exact day soon, but just let everybody know we're going to be, and it'll probably take, 2 or 3 months to actually go through it.
Are you going to do it both studies, or are you just going to do it every Sunday, like we did the last time you did
We'll do it every live. And just go through the book of Revelation.
Okay.
So it'll be fun. Welcome, Tim and Jody. Good to see you.
Yeah. So would you smash the like button, give it a big thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel if you're on YouTube. Make sure you head over to Rumble and follow us on Rumble. Turn on the notification bell. The fisherman over there. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any great uploads, because Jody's working on something right now. My sister is doing a blooper one, and she's got everything from the hellos to bad hair days to, she's got the work. She is giving it.
Ring that notification bell.
Yeah. And how I mess up. She's got mess ups. She's got do-overs. She's got all kinds of stuff going on.
It'll be fun. Everybody can laugh at us.
Yes. And please check out, we've got all kinds of a few libraries and different places you could go. You can go to the website, check that out. There's a lot of reading to do. We have it on YouTube, Rumble. There's on each of those places, we got libraries of videos. Please check that out. And please share. Please share. Okay. Yeah. Do not forget.
Help us to reach more people.
Stingy.
Don't be stingy with this information. Okay. Now I'm just saying, and I know a lot of people out there are not sharing. So you're here because God wants you to be here, and then you don't share this information with your people? Like, what is wrong with you?
What's up with that?
What's up with that?
So share. Help us to reach more people. That's really what it's all about. When we understand the truth, then that's the only thing that really matters. Is reality is God. This is just like we're living in the Matrix here. This is just a testing ground. It's a proving ground. It's for God to find those that will love him. And that's all this is. Nothing matters here except helping other people to know God like we do. That's the only thing that matters.
Right.
Yes. Amen.
Sir.
Glory.
That's the way
Praise
my mom.
the Lord.
That's how our mom did. She went, glory. I know.
All glory
So,
to God.
That being said, let's get into it.
Okay. I'm going to share my screen with Diane. Make sure I show the sound because I'm going to be sharing some videos with you today. And we will get into it. So, as usual, first of all, we're going to talk about the signs that Jesus gave that would herald his coming. When is the end of the world? And if you have not seen it, for any new people, and I know this gets real old for all the people that are constantly with us, but BibleProphecyandTruth.com, if you scroll down about 2/3 of the way down the page to where you see this picture, this is what we look at every day, or not every day, every life. And basically the signs that there are earthquakes in diverse places, the signs in the heavens, that all of the pestilences, the famines, that everything that Jesus said would herald his coming are literally spiking right now. Everything is literally, look at earthquakes. I know that I am still in awe at this. It's like we went from having a couple thousand a year to 200,000 a year in 2020. It's just absolutely mind-blowing. So we look at that, and when we look at earthquakes, we have, a 6 is a major earthquake. So we typically focus
Chile.
on 6s and greaters. We've been having a few in South America recently.
Chile, right there.
And Chile. Oh, Chile. Yeah.
Chile.
Okay. South America.
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
San
and that's not the
Pedro
first one that
de
we've
Atacama.
seen down there. And then I noticed this, Japan. We've got
There's a lot.
We've
in
got a
Japan.
whole bunch of them in Japan here.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Japan's getting hit real hard with a whole bunch of 5 and greaters, almost 6. We had a 5.7, another 5.7. Japan's getting rocked right now.
Yeah.
And I don't, like I said, I always say
Are
this.
we
I have no
going
idea
over
why
there?
nobody ever remarks about this on the news.
We're gonna be
You know,
over
Thinking
this.
of having a big tsunami again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I hope there's
Yeah.
no tsunami when we're there in the summer.
In Korea.
Ooh.
Yeah. But 2,020 earthquakes in the last 7 days, according to USGS. Look at there's always just massive clusters. And this is just 7 days, the last 7 days. Just tons down there in California.
Wow, look at that. Yeah, they are going to.
So,
One of these days with California, I'm just saying.
yeah. And we were looking at that last week where, there's articles about they were expecting the big one. But it didn't happen. It's certainly going to happen someday. There's almost no doubt about that with the San Andreas fault. So, and they're expecting a 7.8 or an 8.0, which is a huge earthquake, massive. So, yeah, definitely keeping our eye on that as we're watching and waiting for the Lord. Another thing I want to talk about on this is, we've seen this. I don't know how many times, right? How many times have we seen scientists telling us that this climate change malarkey is malarkey? How many times do we have to see it before we believe it, right? It's, 1,100 eminent scientists declaring that there is no climate emergency. I showed you videos a little while ago of, the coastline over the last 60 years, I think, 50 years, I think it was, the coastline did not change at all in the last 50 years. And they're trying to tell us that the sea levels are rising. We're about to all die. It's such a stupid lie. And so many people believe it, but it's because they're telling us that the science data corroborates it when they're making up numbers, they're falsifying things, they're saying there's data in collection points that don't even exist, and they're lying about it. And when the scientists are telling us it's a lie, then we should believe them. There is no climate emergency. There's no cause for panic and alarm. They strongly oppose the harmful and unrealistic net zero CO2 policy proposed. Right? This green stuff is all just about control and money, fraud. I mean, imagine how much fraud is happening with all the billions of dollars that are getting thrown at this climate emergency stuff. How many people are getting super rich off of this lie and ruining our lives because of it? So I love to talk about this because this is such a ridiculous lie. It's all fear mongering. Oh, we're all going to die. Remember Al Gore back in early 2000s saying we only have 5 years and we're all going to be dead, and then Greta Thunberg, years ago, in 5 years, we're all going to be dead. We're still here, and the sea levels aren't even rising. The temperature is not even rising. In fact, the temperature has gone down. We have more ice in the Arctic than we did a few years ago. It's just so stupid. But
it is stupid.
They're still trying to say it's true.
I have memories from 10 years ago where we were swimming New Year's Day. That's January 1st.
And in March.
And now it's so cold.
I know. And there's no way we're getting in the pool this year this March.
No.
It's still like down in the 40s at night. It's ridiculously cold.
We still can't swim.
This has been like the coldest winter since I've been in Florida.
No.
Yeah. With the number of cold days. I'm not talking about the coldest temperature overall. I'm talking about the number of cold days.
I think it was like 2009 or 2010. And it was I was getting up and going to my mom and dad's every single day. And I had to wear a coat every single day.
Yeah.
And
so I forgot about that year.
Yeah.
But this year has been really cold. So anyway, it's a big lie. And if scientists are telling you that it's a lie, then it's probably a lie. Of course, we can't believe everything scientists say because typically it's the general consensus is whatever they want people to know. But scientists don't all follow that, right? They don't all follow what they're told to do. And a lot of them, and in fact, most of these scientists are ones that are, let's look at the facts here instead of just spouting what the narrative that they're supposed to. Mm-hmm. That's what's wrong with science. They've decided, and I know I'm kind of drifting off on a different subject here, but when we talk about evolution and we talk about the science around evolution, they have gone from, to be a scientific fact, it has to be proven beyond any shadow of a doubt. You have to have testing and proving that you can duplicate this, and you have to have observable science that you can show. And they've changed it so that they're taking theory now. Theory is now accepted as science, as long as enough scientists say so. And they've got them all. They've got them all on payroll, just like in the governments, right? They're paying, they're threatening, they're blackmailing, they're doing everything they can to get everybody to spout their narrative. And it's the same thing with evolution. They've got all the scientists saying, oh yeah, this is all scientifically proven, when it's just as much of a big lie as climate change. So I know I drifted off a little bit there, but it's just so ridiculous that how everything is changing now that we have. It's kind of funny because this is supposed to be the information age, where we have information at our fingertips. And you know what it's become is the misinformation age, where now we have to be very careful what we read, whether it's true or not. because there's so much false information out there at our fingertips. It's gotten ridiculous. So anyway, I'll move on now. Good news for South African farmers. Now, I know that what's going on in South Africa is just absolutely horrendous. What they're doing to the farmers there, and basically it's a war against white people in South Africa. But what Trump is doing is he's saying that if you're a farmer in South Africa and you want to get out of that country because you don't feel safe, he's inviting you to come to the United States with a rapid pathway to citizenship, and the process will begin immediately. This is actually very good news for South African farmers. Come to the United States,
and we'll make the money.
Maybe we'll get some of that farmland back from Bill Gates and China, and you can start farming here.
Yeah.
He
wants entrepreneurs and he wants businesses.
And he wants farmers back in the United States. Yes, because we need to grow our own food and not be dependent on our enemies to give us the food that we need. Yeah.
Everything sounds good on paper. I just don't want it to backfire in any way.
Yeah, true.
We're just not used to that kind of a presidency. So I'm a little bit nervous. So.
Well, it's going to take a lot of mindset change with the youth too, because most of the youth don't even work and don't want to work. So somebody's got to work the farms. Somebody's got to work the factories, and if the youth don't want to work, what are we going to do? Right. They need to go get a job.
We need to force them.
And their parents need to be the ones that are encouraging them to go and get a job.
Kick them out, make them go.
Because there's lots of jobs available already, and there's going to be tens of thousands more coming.
Yeah, it's true.
We've got car manufacturers, we've got Apple, we've got mining, we've got chip manufacturers, we got all kinds of businesses coming to the United States, billions of dollars being invested because of Trump's policies, and they're all coming here. And they're going to be building factories, and there's going to be lots of jobs available. So, bring the farmers here too. Absolutely. Yeah. Come to the United States. Yeah.
Okay.
So different subject. I saw this article and I'm like, is Turkey holding NATO hostage to get a nuclear bomb? And it's kind of a weird article, but the whole idea, why is Turkey even in NATO? After everything they're doing,
they don't pay any money or anything.
They are not an ally of the United States,
especially
at all. Why are they in NATO? They're not really an ally of Europe either. They're a Muslim country.
They're a Middle Eastern ally.
They're taking sides with the Muslims. Absolutely. So it's just, but the thing about this is kind of, the reason Turkey is in NATO, for as far as where Turkey is concerned, is very advantageous for them. And getting a nuclear bomb, that's a dream of Muslim nations, because then they can blow up Israel is their stated goal. So we're keeping our eye on Turkey, and we're keeping our eye on Syria right now, because
and Jordan.
Wow, is stuff changing. Jordan, Iran. Al Qaeda calls Ramadan the month of jihad, and encourages Muslims to carry out jihad massacres. We're supposed to believe that Islam is some, peaceful coexist religion, when as I've shown you over and over and over, other people saying, ex-Muslims saying, that it's not jihadis, it's not the extremists, it's Islam doctrine. It's just Islam. This is what they are. And we need to understand that. That's why I'm not jihadwatch.org. I'm not all about that, but I am all about helping you understand this, so that you can help everyone understand this, that Islam is not a religion of peace. The only way Islam is a religion of peace is if they have absolute control and it's Sharia law. That's when it's peaceful, when they don't have any non-Muslims. So as long as everyone's a Muslim and obeying Sharia law, then it's peaceful. Except if you're a woman, because then your husband is obligated to beat you, and he has multiple wives, and he can have sex slaves, and they can have slavery, definitely, and all kinds of things that we're supposed to hate, that Islam is all about. And this day and age, we're supposed to be about peace and love, but and anti-slavery, and everybody gets along, and but it's exact opposite in Islam, but we're supposed to love Islam. It's just so weird how that's just everybody is on this bandwagon, and it's just completely
You'll find out. They'll find out.
I know.
Well,
it's coming.
Yeah, and hopefully not when it's too late, right?
Yeah.
That's why I'm here telling you this right now. In the UK, Europe has fallen so hard, and the UK especially. In Ramadan iftar inside Parliament in the UK, Starmer says, "I know this has been a very difficult time for Muslims in the UK." Well, wait, a difficult time for Muslims
How
in
is
the
that?
UK? You mean a very difficult time for native Europeans in the UK?
The English?
Because
Did you see on the news a Muslim guy was standing on the top of a church?
Yeah, on the climbing over the wall of the Parliament.
Parliament, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just how has it been a difficult time for Muslims?
Yeah.
When they're just rampaging and raping and committing crimes and killing and doing whatever they want and getting away with it. They don't even get charged for crimes or put in jail. It's the English. Right, it's the English people that are getting charged with thought crimes and being thrown in jail for complaining about the Muslims that are committing crimes. I mean, wow, this is just so
They
ridiculous.
Forced them out of London. So a lot of English people, like true British people, are moving like out of the big cities now and moving into the countryside
to get away from it. Yeah.
They pushed them right out of the cities.
And you know what? It's not that far from here. I've got some articles to show you, but in the UK, here's King Charles is opening Windsor Castle to Muslims for their Ramadan iftar dinner. Isn't that nice of him?
That's on him.
King Charles is a Muslim, if you didn't know that. He has been a Muslim for a very long time.
King Charles?
Oh, yeah.
I thought he followed the Catholic Church.
He's a closet Muslim because he has to be. But he's definitely all about Islam and has been for a very, very long time.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I have pictures of him from 20 years ago with Muslims, wearing their outfits, praying with them, things like that. He's been sympathetic to Islam for a very, very, very long time.
I thought he was with the Catholic Church.
Well, Europe, the UK, is a Catholic country. So he has to, his face has to be, I'm a Catholic, but he's really a Muslim, and he's showing his true colors today. So there's a lot of news about King Charles and Islam these days. Just, you can look it up.
I don't want to.
Opening Windsor Castle for Muslims for Ramadan. This is the kind of stuff he's doing. Yeah.
Wow.
In France, this is this Muslim killed 3 people, says, "I'm not a terrorist. I'm a Muslim." And he says he beheaded a woman to scare people. So what is terrorism? If you kill someone to scare people, is that not the definition of terrorism? Otherwise, what is terrorism if it's not scaring people with violence? This is supposed to, what? It's supposed to convince us that it's okay. I'm not a terrorist, I'm a Muslim. Well, that's because in Islam, everyone is called to kill the infidels, and there's no extremist in Islam. It's just Muslim doctrine. We've shown this over and over in the last couple of weeks, especially. So this is, it's okay because, oh, he's a Muslim. All right. Now it's all good. Huh? Yeah. It's ridiculous. Ramadan in Syria. A couple articles about that coming up. You can't really see this is a video. These are people running down the street. These lights are just a banner across the top of the street. These people are running. They're chasing other people. They're chasing Alawites and Christians and Druze in Syria. They've actually killed over 1,000 for Ramadan. This is what's going on big time. What do I got going on here?
I don't know, as long as you don't hear it.
Okay, it's catching up. It was just way behind.
Yeah.
I got to make sure that we're online because we've been having some weird problems. But so yeah, this is in Syria with the new leader that's supposed to be better than Assad, right?
When are we due to find that out? Like what okay, so let me back up. So if you're watching this Assad, is that what his name is? Assad?
Well, that was the old leader.
Okay, so this new guy, what is he, if he ends up being the king of the north? Is that what you're saying? The king of the north?
He might be.
What is the sign?
Well,
that's a good question because I know there's a lot of people.
It is a good question because there's a lot of fighting back and forth between the king of the north and the king of the south in Daniel chapter 11.
Okay.
So when he's fighting, now it depends on who the king of the south is, right? According to prophecy, because it might not be a country, so to speak. It's a man who's from a land, and if you read through Daniel 11. There's fighting going back and forth, and the king of the south is destroyed, and then a raiser of taxers stands up in his place, and then, but he's only in power for a few days, and then some other vile person stands up and takes over the kingdom.
So you're waiting for someone to stand up and take over.
We're waiting to see these very specific things happen.
So that's my question. Are we waiting for someone to take over the kingdom?
Yes.
So doesn't it look like this guy is taking over the kingdom?
Yes. But this also, see, we won't be able to see things very clearly until we're like into the days of the Antichrist standing up to take power. Okay. Because we haven't even seen the confirmation of the covenant yet. And it's 8 months after that the Antichrist will stand up and begin gathering power. And the time of the warring between the king of the north and the king of the south could be happening right now. We just may not realize it. But the other thing about Syria as well is, remember in Daniel 7 that 3 of the 10 kings are uprooted. They're basically,
so Assad was uprooted.
They're deposed. So there was Libya and Egypt a few years ago, and we were all waiting for Syria to be the third king. And now finally Assad has been deposed. So I believe that this is likely the third king of Daniel 7's 10 kings, the 3 kings that are uprooted. So this is all going to be part of the Antichrist system. So this is his 10 king alliance when he takes power.
So you're waiting to see the kind of the behavior that's going on with this new guy.
Right.
If he's becoming more like authoritative, and then who he could be fighting with from
because right now he's cozying up with the world leaders, and he's here's this terrorist now wearing a suit, and he's really gaining acceptance over the world leaders, and especially in Europe. And
so who is the king of the south right now?
We don't know yet. That's what we're waiting to find out. We don't know for sure if Syria is that third king, but see, as things progress, as the Antichrist becomes more and more visible, then we're going to be able to see what, if Syria was that third, which the king of the north and the king of the south, Turkey very well could be the king of the north, or Syria could be the king of the north. It depends on where the king of the south comes
and where
from.
he's located.
And because it's the king of the south is where eventually the Antichrist is going to come from. That's where he's going to stand up.
Where is he coming from?
The south.
The south.
So that'll be
Jordan in the
where
south?
well, it depends on it. See, if Libya were fighting Ethiopia, then Ethiopia would be the south and Libya would be the north.
Okay, so it
just
really
depends.
just depends on what's
We
going
don't
on.
know what country it's going to be until
Yeah.
we see the Antichrist stand up and begin
Okay,
gathering
so
power.
really we have to watch. We can watch all of these things going on, but we really can't put these things into place and perspective until we see that confirmation of the covenant, which is the Abraham Accords.
Right.
So
When we
once
see
that happens and we get that out of the way, then we can start
then we
looking
know
for
that
stuff.
in 8 months, this
Right.
man is going to stand up and begin gathering power.
Okay.
And then we may already see these interactions of the king of the north and the king of the south and things like that.
Can you share
right?
that with people so they can see what you're looking at?
So I'm pulling up
that
this
would
map
be very
here
interesting
because,
for people to see.
Syria's here, Turkey's here, Lebanon's here,
So it
Jordan's
just
here.
depends on
This Egypt,
location, I
Sudan,
guess.
Libya. And like I was saying, if the Antichrist comes out of Ethiopia, then that would be the king of the south. But we don't know exactly where he's going to come from.
Just
Jordan
pretend.
is a possibility.
Right.
So if the king of the north is Syria and the king of the south is Jordan, then that's where eventually this man will stand up and take power. So, but we haven't seen all of this happen yet. So we're watching these regions, watching all of these things happening so that when it does happen, we'll see it for what it is.
So where are the other two kings? Libya. So can you just show it on the map? Libya
so Libya and Egypt were a few years ago, and it's almost like 10 years ago now. Libya and Egypt, the kings of Libya and Egypt were deposed. They were basically replaced.
Okay.
And
so now the Syrian
and Syria was next in line. And in fact, they were trying. Now I say they because it really was they. It's like it wasn't just the rebels. It was a very coordinated thing. Just like what happened in Syria just now was not just the rebels taking over. No, there was a lot of other things behind that, behind the scenes, right? It's not just some rebel force took over Syria. There's a lot that goes on behind all that. And we were waiting for Assad to be deposed years ago, but he managed to repel them and keep power. He stayed in power for another 10 years until just now.
Okay.
And then, in God's eyes, that could be the third king. 10 years to God is an eye blink, right? So we can't say, well, that was 10 years ago because that's really nothing to God.
Confirmation of the covenant first.
Yeah. So once we
get that out of the way.
Once we see the confirmation of the covenant, we know that the Antichrist is going to stand up and begin his plans, gathering power, implementing his plans to gain power 8 months later.
Okay.
So we know that that's going to happen. So we're just watching and waiting to see how this all plays out. So whether it's going to be Syria or Jordan or Turkey, a lot of people think Turkey is going to be a major player.
Is Turkey bigger than Jordan?
Turkey is a lot bigger than Jordan.
So, so we have to pay attention to exactly what Scripture says that this man,
right? And that's
is from what
I'm talking about here. In fact, let's just go look at it because it is very interesting to study this.
What exactly is the Antichrist? Who is he going to be? Because the people that might tune in to this Bible study, some people think it's Trump. And I'm just like, no, you're not reading Scripture.
It's not Trump.
It's not Trump, y'all. Okay, I'm just saying that.
So let me show you here because verse 21 is the Antichrist.
Okay.
In his estate shall stand up a vile person,
Okay.
and to whom they shall not give the honor of the kingdom, but he shall come in peaceably and obtain the kingdom by flatteries.
Okay.
And the kingdom doesn't necessarily have to be a nation. This could be referring to the kingdom, meaning the 10-nation union that the Antichrist creates.
Right.
He's going to stand up and declare himself the Mahdi of Islam, and 10 Islamic nations are going to give him that place in the world. And it also could be what's already going on behind the scenes, the New World Order, the they that are across the world right now that are fighting to create this one world government. And it may be that he obtains. What this actually means can't be determined until we see it happen.
You see it.
But we know it's going to happen and about what it's going to be about when it happens, and we're going to know the time of his standing up and taking power. So we're going to watch. But what I was going to point out here is, we see that, there's the king of the north, and there's, the king of the north shall come and cast up a mound and take the most fenced cities. And, and then the king of the south fights him. And then the king of the south is going to be, he'll turn his face toward his own land, but he shall stumble and fall and not be found. And in his state stands up a raiser of taxes, which I was talking about. But it says, within a few days he shall be destroyed, neither in anger nor in battle. And then in his estate shall stand up this vile person, which is the Antichrist. So whoever, the king of the south and the king of the north, whoever these people are, I should blow this up for people. Sorry. Online, because it's harder to see.
So,
but
I know.
We've got the king of the south that's going to be doing things, and the king of the north that's going to be doing things. And then, there's a lot of little things that happen here that we have to see how it all plays out and who these people actually are. Mm-hmm. So it's gonna be something that we're watching right now.
So all these people that are online on YouTube and in Rumble even are thinking they know who it is.
Well, they
can't know. They cannot know because it says that he won't
Yeah.
even start standing up until after the confirmation of the covenant. If people would just see, that's why it's really, really important, everybody, to let them know that we are going to do a revelation study in the next couple weeks.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about all of this.
Spread that out. Yeah.
Because a revelation study encompasses the book of Daniel as well, because there's so many intertwined, interrelated parts of prophecy. And what she was just talking about, we know that there's going to be an 8-month period of time, because in Daniel 8, it says that this man, so where's the 2300 days? I have to find it. So it's part of the prophecy that I'm looking for the 2300 days. Where was it? Rotation of vision. Let me look for 2300. So 2300, I think. Some of the verbiage in the Old Testament is hard to remember. And of course, when I'm trying to find things, it'll be like right in front of my face. Yeah. But I can't see it. 2,300 days. Let me find it here, because I want to show it to everybody so that where is it? Let me cheat and go look at my notes.
Where Jay is shopping.
Yeah, I'm going to cheat and I'm going to go look at my notes, because I have it on. Actually, it's in my book of.
Is it in Daniel?
In my understanding the book of Revelation. I actually have all this.
That's why I'm
2,300 days.
really
So Daniel
hoping.
8. So here's my notes on this. Let me just put these up. So in Daniel 8, 13 and 14, we see that it's going to be 2,300 days for the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden underfoot to happen. So when we look at that, if we look at Daniel chapter 8, and it was right here. 2,300 days. Of course, it was right in front of my face. But, he said, how long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation? So he gives him this time frame, right? And so when we look at this, if we see, the vision of Daniel 8, 9, and 12 is given to us.
Mm-hmm.
Out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceedingly great towards the south, toward the east, toward the pleasant land. And it waxed great even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the host of the stars to the ground and stamped upon them. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. This is the same thing that we see in Daniel 11 and 12 and 9, where it's the Antichrist taking away the daily sacrifice and the abomination of desolation that Jesus spoke of in Matthew 24. He said, when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, know that then there's going to be time of tribulation. And so this is what it's talking about. And when we look at this prophecy and we see that it's going to be 2,300 days, and then we see the interpretation of the vision, and we see that, it's going to be, we know that this started with the Medes and the Persians and the king of Grecia. That's what this whole prophecy is about in Daniel 8, the ram and the goat. This is a prophecy of the Greeks taking over the rulership of the known world at the time from the Medes and the Persians. That's what this is about. It's the same thing that we see in Daniel 11, and then there's the same gap that's everywhere in Scripture and prophecy, where it jumps from that day to the end time, which is where we're at right now. And that's why when we see this, when we see the interpretation, we know that there, 4 kingdoms stood out of the nation, out of Greece, and we know that happened. But then in the latter time of their kingdom, there's a 2,000-year gap between those two verses. We're now in the latter time, 2,000 years later. Actually, a little more than that, 2,300 years later from the time of the end of the Greek Empire. And it tells, this man, this king of fierce countenance is going to stand up. And this is the Antichrist that we're talking about here. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be 2,300 days is what we're seeing. How long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation? So the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation is this little horn. This is the Antichrist. And it's going to be 2,300 days from where he's going to stand up. And in the latter time of their kingdom, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up. So I hope I'm helping people to understand this.
And that's not Trump.
No, that is definitely not Trump. This is the Antichrist right here. Yeah. This is when he stands up. So it's going to be 2,300 days from the end of all things, from the end. So 6.3 years before the return of Christ, before the day of the Lord, is going to be, and about 8 months after the signing of the confirmation of the covenant, is when this event happens. And this is going to be when he stands up and begins gathering his power.
That'll be the beginning of 7 years. tribulation.
That's going to be 8 months after the beginning of the final 7 years. Yes. It's 6.3 years from the end. And this is the same thing that we see here. This is when this same prophecy, a different prophecy, but of the same man, where this is when he stands up, this vile person, and begins gathering his power. And so when we talk about the king of the north and the king of the south, where did my I must have closed Google Maps because it ain't up there right now. There it is. It's another tab. So when we talk about who the king of the north and who the king of the south is, which one of these countries is going to be where he comes from, we don't really know. We can be absolutely certain based on Daniel 2 and many, many other places in prophecy, but Daniel 2 shows us explicitly that it's going to be the iron mingled with clay that is in power when Christ returns. We know that it's going to be the Holy Roman Empire / what is the EU today, and the Islamic Empire / what is the Arab League today, that is going to be in power. And it's going to be, what we see today is Catholicism submitting to Islam. And then this whole interfaith movement is really Catholicism submitting to Islam. It doesn't go the other way. Islam does not, capitulate to interfaithism. It only goes to Islam, where Catholicism is teaching us to submit to Islam. So it's going to be an Islamic king. We can be absolutely certain of that.
And Trump's not Islamic.
No, he's not Islamic. And
he's not a king.
And he's going to stand up as the Muslim Mahdi is what we're looking at when we look at what's going on, how Satan set up duplicate prophecies in Islam, how their Mahdi is going to be the biblical Antichrist. And so when this man stands up, when we saw that in Daniel 8, when this vile person stands up, and, like we saw in Daniel 8, when he stands up, right, he's going to stand up and claim to be the Mahdi of Islam. That's what he's going to do, right? He's going to claim to be the Mahdi. He's going to create the 10-nation union of Daniel 7, because all of these prophecies all intertwine with each other. And it's the fourth beast that we see here, which has 10 horns. And when we see that the Antichrist is actually going to, he's going to uproot 3 of those kings. And that's why I'm talking about Libya and Egypt and now Syria, which is probably those 3 kings.
So can we look at the map? Because I kind of want to look and see if, what the 10
the 10 nations. So if we look at this map, all of the northern African countries are Islam, part of the Arab League. So is Saudi Arabia and Jordan. I've got a map of it here on chapter 7 on my website for anyone that's interested. I've got a map of the Arab League, and you can see here that it's we can see that these northern nations, including Saudi Arabia and Jordan, Iraq, not Iran, Iraq, Yemen, Somalia. These are all the Arab League right now, which is just a continuation of I know it was the Islamic Ottoman Empire, which Turkey is notably absent from the Arab League,
right?
Which it was a major player in the Ottoman Empire, but I believe that all the things that we're seeing going on with Turkey right now, we're going to see him joining with the Arab League. And so these 10 nations are going to come out of these, and most certainly others as well. All right, all of the Muslim nations 10 of those nations are going to give their allegiance to the Antichrist and lift him up as their Mahdi. So we're watching for all of this to happen. And we're
We just
waiting
have
for
to-
these, the king of the north, the king of the
Yeah.
south. We're waiting for the three kings to be deposed, for the Antichrist to stand up.
And we have to
And-
wait for those Abraham Accords.
And that's what we'll probably see the Abraham Accords bring in, what will be the confirmation of the covenant from
Right.
the Bible.
Right.
When the world as a whole, and that's what we see in Daniel 9, is remember all of these prophecies actually roll right in together. And we see that there's going to be the final week of Daniel's 70 weeks. The 69 weeks have already passed. We're waiting for the start of the 70th week. And that's what the same thing that we see between two verses in Daniel 8, two verses in Daniel 11, actually in Joel and many other places, the same 2,000-year gap is shown to us. It's also right here. This final week, it's shown here, is actually broken off from the other 69 weeks purposely, because there's a gap of 2,000 years between that day and the time of the end. So when we see this in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice and oblation to cease. Remember, that's what the Antichrist does. And for the overspreading of abominations, he shall make it desolate. But remember, he's going to confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. So this man who will be the Antichrist is going to come in and deceitfully and by peace come in and take the kingdom, and he's going to confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. So 8 months prior to him actually standing up, that we saw in Daniel 8, is when he's going to do this. He's going to be part of the world as a whole, creating.
They're going to make you take the mark of the beast.
Well, but that's in the midst of the week when he takes over the world. Here, he's just going to be signing a peace treaty. They're going to give Israel the right to exist and draw her borders, which is the confirmation, the Abrahamic covenant with God. Is what this covenant is referring to. The right of Israel to exist and her borders.
Who came up with Abraham Accords? Who came up with that?
I don't know who came up with the name, but I mean, that's what it's been. It's part of eschatology for years. Everybody's talking about this covenant is the covenant of Abraham.
I'm just curious
between Abraham and God.
Abraham Accords, and people are not associating that. Maybe is a biblical
Trump,
thing?
I'm sure, believes that this is what he's doing. I
Trump, believe that's what
Trump
he's doing.
Has even said that he believes God is, using
to make
him
America great again.
And he's also going to
I know.
pursue finishing the Abraham Accords, which he started in his first term.
He said God kept him alive so he could make America great again.
That's what he said in his statement. But this is what we're waiting. This is going to begin the final week. The final 7 years will begin when this signing of the peace treaty happens. And the 8 months later, he's going to stand up. He's going to gather power, and he's going to create this 10-nation union, which is the fourth beast of Daniel 7. And he's going to create that. He's going to be the Mahdi, bring those 10 Islamic nations under him, which will be then. I know I'm going really fast for people here.
I know, and I don't even know what Bible studies about tonight.
The 10 nations, that 10-horned beast joins up with the other 3 beasts, the lion, the bear, and the leopard of Daniel 7. They join up into one kingdom here in Revelation 13 under the Antichrist. So he's going to, in Daniel...
I know we're not starting the Revelation study for a few more weeks.
This is a little prelude to it, right? So there's 4 beasts. There's the lion, the bear, and the leopard, and this fourth beast, which has 10 horns, which is what we're talking about. This beast that is created by the Antichrist, the 10 nations that give him their allegiance, and almost certainly as the Mahdi of Islam. And then in Revelation 13, we see that lion, bear, and leopard again, but they're now one beast. They are single military and political power base of the Antichrist that he creates this union for. So that's what we're talking about. And I know I went really fast through all of that, but when we talk about the king of the north and the king of the south, this is what we're waiting to see. We're waiting to watch this man uproot 3 kings, sign this treaty,
well, he's
take
not
over a
uprooting.
Kingdom.
Is he uprooting?
Well, he'd be part of the system, the part of the peoples that did this, right?
Oh,
because they were uprooted for political reasons. They Syria was not taken over by some rebel gang.
No.
Syria was taken over by the world, and this rebel leader was the one put there by them. So, this, and I've actually got some stuff to talk about. I've actually got some articles on that coming up here that we're going to look at, because he's not just some random terrorist dude that took over Syria.
Planned?
He was given that role, definitely. He wasn't just lucky and overthrew Assad. No, Assad was overthrown by they. The they.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what's going on. Definitely.
Okay.
So now that we've segued
Had
through
the
all
Revelation
of that,
study.
had a really quick study on the timing of the Antichrist and his rise to power. So, that's
Anyway.
So we'll continue. I've got some more on that guy here coming up, but
that was the trailer.
Yeah,
that was a long
so more to
trailer.
come. We're going to go into great detail on that when we study it out. So, some other news: the New York NYPD, the New York Police Department, holding a crescent lighting ceremony to mark the beginning of Ramadan. Wait. Is this in the United States of America or what? The New York Police Department holds this crescent lighting ceremony. If you don't understand the lying wonders of Satan and the grand delusion, you need to understand that, because that's what's happening. That's why all this weird, crazy stuff's going on that just makes no sense. Why are these people doing these things? Well, it's because of Satan. They don't know they're doing this. They don't have any idea why they're doing this. They are under a strong delusion.
Right.
They're insane. They're actually being so deceived by the devil that they don't even know what they're doing. That's how strong the delusion is. It's absolutely mind-blowing. The lying wonders of Satan have this whole world just capitulating to this evil religion, where it's all about slavery and rape and murder, and women are, subhuman, and, hatred of specific races. And religion. I mean, there's just so many things.
People are asleep today.
Oh, wow, man, it's just insane.
They just don't care. Like, they're just so complacent.
You see a celebration and they just want to say, oh, I believe in diversity, and they celebrate it.
They have the right to celebrate their religion, and they don't study it out. They don't know what they're doing.
They don't have any idea what Islam really is and what it would mean. Right. Like this woman here, she don't know. She has no idea what Sharia law is, apparently, because she would be a subhuman if she became a Muslim wife. Yeah.
They probably wouldn't even allow her to stand up there to begin with if she was in like an Islamic country.
They segregate them in the mosques. The women don't worship with the men.
No,
they're in a completely different area of the mosque. Yeah, this would not be happening. This is all part of taqiyya. This is the doctrine in Islam that says it's perfectly fine, and in fact, you should lie to people in order to assist in the ascendancy of Islam. And it's so important to understand what's going on. They're lying and lying and lying and saying, oh yeah, we're your friend. Yeah, we're your friend. And they're just waiting for you to turn around so they can stab you in the back. I mean, this is what Islam is. And more on that coming right now today, too. So there's more on this coming. In North Carolina, this is a state in the United States, North Carolina, a Jewish journalist was arrested for objecting to Islamic Jihad terror
Symbol.
Yeah. But she objected to this symbol in a grocery store. Somebody was wearing a terror symbol, and she was like, why are you wearing that? She was arrested.
Jeez.
For objecting to that. Yeah. In North Carolina. I mean, if you think this is over the ocean, oh no, it's coming soon to a theater near you. We need to be really aware of this now. And, it's before it's too late, like it is for Europe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's already too late for Europe, but it's not here yet. We're right on that brink. So hopefully Trump will give us a reprieve in this country. I really hope so.
No, he's stirring the pot, though.
He's really stirring the pot big time, yeah.
He's got a lot. He might be making some really wise choices, but
he's really pissing off the whole world.
Really getting to a lot of countries and
making
leaders.
That's what I was saying
mad.
before, that, God has him doing what he's supposed to be doing, and it may not be something positive.
That's right.
That's
exactly
it's going to lead
right.
to the confirmation of the covenant
Yeah.
and the signing of the peace treaty
And
and
the
then
war.
the rise of the Antichrist and the war. The Sixth Trumpet War is going to
Yeah.
happen.
He may tick someone off, and that's when World War III starts.
That's what I've been thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
See, one of the things that I've wondered often in the past is because we know when this peace treaty is signed, when the world is forced to acknowledge the existence of Israel and draws their borders, a lot of the Muslim world is going to be very, very angry about that. In fact, a lot of Muslims are going to be enraged because of that.
Yeah, they are.
And that may just be what actually sparks the the Sixth Trumpet War, and causes all that destruction because of their anger. And then the Antichrist rises out of the ashes to take power, which makes perfect sense. The timelines that God gave us and everything that he said was going to happen. I can see that the signing of the peace treaty actually sparking that war. And then the Antichrist rising from that destruction, rising out of the ashes, becoming the savior of the world after 2 billion people die.
Yeah.
I can see it happening that
Me
way
too.
big time.
Mm-hmm.
So Trump talking about applying his Gaza plan to Judea and Samaria now. Really, really upsetting the Muslims.
I don't know. I just,
he's going to take over Gaza, take over Judea and Samaria, and just kick all the Arabs out.
There's some things I just want to tell him, just calm down.
I know.
And you're just,
because he's really stirring the pot here big time.
yeah.
But this, but see, we have to remember that God is playing a role here, and Trump may not be a man of God, but for God to use him, right? God used Pharaoh in Egypt for his purposes. God can use any king. In fact, the Bible tells us that there is no king, good or bad, that isn't there because God has allowed it or put him there. And so God is doing what he's doing because he's going to have everything happen exactly the way he said it would happen. And he's obviously using Trump. If he's using Trump to create the Abraham Accords and to make all this happen. Now, if that's not going to happen when we think it is, then it doesn't mean that God's using Trump at all, right? It doesn't. It will mean that if it actually comes to pass. So we still have to wait and see for all of these things, right? Because we can't say that the fall of 2025 is going to bring the confirmation of the covenant. That's when they're going to sign the peace treaty. We can't say that for sure.
No.
We have to wait 6 to 9 months to see when that happens, if it does.
That's going to come really quick.
I know.
Yeah, so I hope
know.
it's this year, but it
I
doesn't
hope it
have
is
to be
too.
this year. So
I hope it is this
we'll
year
see.
too.
That's my guesstimate.
Yeah.
It's going to be fall of this year that we see the confirmation of the covenant. I really hope so.
Yeah, me too.
And then another thing about, we talk about how, Europe has fallen, England has fallen the hardest right now. And there's this article I see where much of England can't even speak English today.
Much of England.
Yeah.
Are they speaking
They're-
Arabic?
Whatever native country they came from.
Oh, I see,
these,
I see.
These illegal invaders, right?
And
100.
I would think at least in London. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the big cities.
And well over 135,000 in England are completely illiterate, can't read or write, can't speak English. Like
'Cause
almost
they're
a
coming.
million people, each year coming across their borders and don't speak English. That's why I'm really glad that Trump has made English the
language.
official language of the U.S. Because if you're going to come here, you need to learn to speak our language. It's not up to us to speak your language.
Yeah,
You
we
need
have
to
to learn
speak
theirs when we go
ours
to
if
their
you're going to come
countries.
here. Yeah, I know. You don't go to Spain and expect them to speak English instead of Spanish.
Well, actually, you can because we have military bases.
Well,
there.
that's true. But you get the point I'm saying, right? You don't
In
go
Germany,
to Rome.
everybody spoke English, so
You don't go to Rome and don't do as the Romans do, right? You go to Rome and expect to do as the Romans do.
Well, just like when we go
Yeah.
to South Korea, we're having to learn some polite things to say, like thank
in
you.
Korean, yeah.
Yeah, because you meet them where they are, not.
you want to say, hello, good morning, you look very good today. And instead you end up saying, your mother has spaghetti hair.
Yeah,
I'm just going to go.
Yeah. Yeah. So, another thing about Syria, I've got some more stuff on this, right? I was telling you, that Iran, remember Assad, the Assad regime, Syria is a Sunni Muslim nation, but the government under Assad was a Shiite Muslim rule, and which is Iran. Iran is a Shiite nation, and Iran has lost their rule with the deposing of Assad, and this new leader, Ahmed, has changed his name to, is a Sunni Muslim, which is why he's cozying up with Turkey, because Turkey is a Sunni nation. So he's switched. So Syria is no longer an Iranian surrogate. It is now a Turkey surrogate. And, all of this going on is all games being played by the powers that be, right? They, we're not really certain what they all think they're doing, but I'm convinced in my mind that we are watching the deposition of those three kings of Daniel 7. I think we're about to see the king of the north and the king of the south stuff happening here. And, we're just watching as if, I'm getting my popcorn, right? I'm going to be watching this with great interest, when all of these things are happening. Wow. And then, what's going on in Syria? This is supposed to be better than Assad somehow, but, the Syrian security forces are clashing with the Assad loyalists. And then, the Turkey-backed jihadis massacre Greek Orthodox Christians and Alawites in Syria. Up to almost 2,000 people have died just recently because of these massacres. I mean, this is what's going on in Syria right now. This great, huge upheaval and massive fighting, and maybe we're even seeing the king of the north and the king of the south happening here, right?
Yeah.
We don't know yet. But there's massive clashes of armies going on right now in Syria, and thousands of people dying, thousands of innocents being slaughtered. I mean, these are security forces, but these are innocents. They're just slaughtering Christians and the Alawites, which are non-Muslims. They're just going and just killing them. I There's no way I'm going to show you these videos that I saw where they've got them all. They're forcing them to lay there and just huddle in groups in the back of these trucks and things. And they're going along and they're just smacking them and pulling them up and hitting them. And just, they're just evil men. It's horrible what they're doing. And yeah, here's another, this happens all the time in Nigeria, the DRC, all over in Africa. Muslims murder 25 in a jihad massacre and by the way, they took 20 slaves. These are not hostages. They're slaves. They kidnap the ones that they want to take as sex slaves and labor slaves, because Islam is all about slavery, which is like, why does the world support Islam when we're supposed to be so against slavery? It blows my mind.
Because people are choosing to be in denial. That's why they're actually choosing to be in denial.
Well, yes, because they just want to hate, and they just choose who they want to hate because of Trump derangement syndrome and stupid things like that. They believe the narrative of the mainstream media. And so we've got to hate Trump. So, we've got to choose our side. And they're choosing a side that's like, they don't even have a clue what they're choosing. It's just crazy. Boots on the ground, possibly in Israel.
Yeah.
Yeah. The U.S. military may join Israel in their fight.
I saw that.
That's like, whoa.
I listened to him speaking about that.
Yeah, that's a big one right there. Boots on the ground,
leading to WW3, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then everything going on with Trump.
There's so many crazy things going on. It's like, what's going to be
the catalyst? What is going to be the tipping point?
And the sleeping giant right now,
Iran,
is China.
Oh, China.
China has been very.
They don't like the tariffs.
They've been very quiet.
Yeah, they don't like the tariffs. They're pretty pissed off about the tariffs.
And they're at the close of their 100-year plan anyway.
30 years.
I've been talking about this for a couple of years now. They're coming up towards the close of their 100-year plan, but they're accelerating those plans because they don't want to wait another 30 years.
Yeah.
They're getting to the point where they're gonna just say, okay, forget it, we're going.
Especially
and they're gonna
now,
take Taiwan.
Especially now when Taiwan is coming to America.
Yeah, the biggest chip manufacturer is going to establish manufacturing here. Yeah, China is livid. China thinks they own Taiwan.
That's right.
So they don't think that they should be able to do that. I think that might just be the trigger that sends it over the edge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they haven't said anything about taking Taiwan.
Yeah,
oh,
they're
no,
being they're being very strangely quiet.
Oh, they're just getting angrier. And angrier.
I think the reason is because I think they may be deciding something here.
Yeah, they're planning.
So we'll see.
Mm-hmm. But they're letting everybody else fight, and they're going to watch and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all of this, and that's part of, China really is a large reason behind a lot of the wars going on, is they promote these things behind the scenes.
Yeah, they do.
And they're
sneaky.
They want the United States to be involved in a multi-front war, because right now our military is too weak to be involved in a multi-front war and then defend ourselves. So they want us to be involved in wars so that then they can go and do what they want, and we won't be strong enough to stop them. That's all part of their 100-year plan.
If we go to Israel, there goes some of our military.
Yeah. And then whatever happens with Putin and Zelensky, and this is getting ridiculous. But I've got some more to say on that too in a minute. But as far as Gaza, the Arab plan for Gaza is a welcomed effort, but not what Trump is asking for, the State Department said, because this plan for Gaza does not eliminate Hamas, and it does not release all the hostages. And that's what Trump wants to happen. He wants Hamas completely eliminated and all the hostages released. And so this Arab plan isn't good enough because they're not going to completely eliminate Hamas, which is part of what Trump wants, and of course what Israel wants. So we'll see what happens with that too, right? That's another boiling point that's happening. And then
spread too thin.
Sorry?
We're going to be spread too thin.
I know, if we get involved in all this stuff with troops with boots on the ground, yeah. And then Trump's considering sanctions and tariffs on Russia, you know, and escalating tensions over there, because what did Russia just do?
They attacked Ukraine really bad.
Yeah, they bombed residential areas with cluster bombs.
Yeah.
And then other infrastructure areas with ballistic missiles. They did a major attack right after Trump said you need to stop attacking.
But he said, he kind of expected that it didn't really surprise him that was what happened.
Did Trump say that?
Yeah, he wasn't really surprised.
Oh, well, I didn't hear that part. But, you know, Putin basically spit in his face, said, well, I'm doing what I want to do. You know, with this attack, it was just an outright, you don't own me kind of blatant, giving him the finger kind of thing. That's very, very bold of him. And,
people aren't listening to Trump. He's a really good businessman, but you got to be careful because he's wanting to bring peace to everyone, and everyone's going, wait a minute, we don't have to do what you say.
I know. And the thing is, Trump's a businessman, but this guy right here, he is a criminal big time. This is a very evil man here. That's a politician. It was a KGB man, back in the day. And, he is an evil man. He's not going to just play business with Trump.
Mm-hmm.
So,
he's
hey, Jay, welcome, brother. What'd you say, Diane?
He's going to make him think he is.
Yeah. Well, he's basically calling what Putin thinks he's doing is calling Trump's bluff. Because Trump's acting very strong. But so what Trump's doing is sanctions and tariffs. How is he going to, solve this war problem and create peace over there with sanctions and tariffs, And that might not work, right? It probably won't.
See, Trump's first 4 years, there wasn't any new wars and everything seemed to be more peaceful. I mean, not in this country, but with other countries. But now he was getting along with Kim Jong-un and he was getting along with Putin and, and
but a lot changed in the last 4 years.
And now they just, now he's got some fight back with these countries. And I mean, Kim Jong-un, that is like yet to come.
I know that's not even in the picture.
He's going to be dealing with him very soon. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Let's just get back from Korea. We're only going to be gone for 2 weeks. Let's get back home, and then if crap wants to hit the fan, then okay. We just need to get back home.
So we're definitely watching what's happening here because this could just blow up big time. And Trump talking about Zelensky. I've got something else later, but Trump's already told us that Zelensky just wants to continue his gravy train. He doesn't care about stopping the war or ending the war or stopping the killing. He just wants his gravy train to continue. And I've got another little article about that again, about that whole thing. But so more articles here. The UK Muslim groups reject the Interfaith Pact with Jewish leaders because the chief rabbi is a Zionist. You know, this whole interfaith garbage, Islam will never capitulate to interfaith.
No.
Ever. The only reason they're making people think they will is because of taqiyya. They're lying to them, purposefully deceiving them. Oh yeah, we're going to go along with it. You know, they're lying to their face. They're deceiving them, making them think that they're going to have these interfaith talks when all it is it's about waiting long enough and getting everybody to allow Islam to grow in power until they can institute Sharia law and take over. It has nothing to do with getting along or coexisting or interfaith. It's just to gain power. That's all it's about. And they're never, ever going to be okay with Jews because Islam is a religion based on Jew hatred. That Jews and Christians are the enemies of Islam, and it'll never change, ever. That's the root of their religion, is hatred of Jews and Christians. Why? Because Satan created it, and Satan hates Jews and Christians. That's the only reason, but it's the reason, and it's why it'll never happen. So, you know, I think Tucker Carlson is controlled opposition big time, but this guy that he talked to made a good point. He said, Trump's a great deal maker. He's a great businessman. He's very successful. He brokered many deals around the world during the first administration. And I believe if we will have peace one day, this is the best opportunity for us with someone like President Trump.
Who, this Arab guy?
Yeah. So he's saying that Trump is the best opportunity for what we're going to see as the Abraham Accords. Yeah. So I hope so.
Well, yeah. Is he from Saudi Arabia? Saudi Arabia, the king there likes Trump. King,
well, I think this might be an Iranian.
Iran. Yeah, but I think, you know, and he wants to be, he's probably going to be the first one to sign that peace treaty. Saudi Arabia.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Let me see where this
That's because they're not really that powerful. They don't really have a big military.
Wow, does he have a big, long name?
Mohammed bin
Abdullah bin Jassim bin Jabir al-Thani.
Abdul Rahman.
How about we try Jabir al-Thani and see what, maybe that'll get me what I'm looking for.
Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman
bin
Jassim bin Jabir.
Hamad bin Jassim bin Jabir. This is the guy. He's from Qatar. From Qatar. Yes.
Qatar.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Like Qatar is all of a sudden a big player in all of this.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so that's
better
where
known as
he's from.
Qatar, but
Qatar,
that's not how you pronounce it. You pronounce it Qatar.
Yeah, but that's what he's saying, is that Trump is the best opportunity for peace. So
yeah,
let's see what happens.
Yeah, Qatar is like, huh?
So this is the time for peace.
Yes.
Yeah. The Organization of Islamic Cooperation is what the OIC means there. The Organization for Islamic Cooperation. So Islamic nations, aside from the Arab League, have another organization for cooperating with each other, hold an urgent meeting on the reconstruction of Gaza and the rejection of the Trump plan. So, I mean, this is a, you know, Trump playing chess over there like this.
He knows what he's
playing
doing.
This game. You know, he's really stirring the pot over there, though.
He is.
So
they don't want him putting his business.
Oh, they don't want that
in
at all.
That area.
Yeah. Well,
look at that little short guy on there in the front row on the left. Like two tall guys,
what?
two Arabs.
He's like, who's the short guy? Yeah, but there's two of them. There's now go
no, the guy to the left.
This guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some pretty short guys. I mean, look how tall this guy is compared to that guy. Wow.
Maybe that's
But-
his 10-year-old son.
But I have another a video I'm going to show you guys.
Only she would notice.
We're
that.
running out of time though. I may not play the whole video for you.
Who's
but
that
there's-
short guy?
So moving on now, there's a reason that
Okay, I
there's
love
more than just them not wanting Trump there. The point I'm making is it's not really so much about Trump as it is about retaining the Palestinian situation that allows them to play power games and
Mhm.
to have a a Hamas right next to Israel and all the the stuff going on in Judea and Samaria. Remember, Islam is a religion of Jew hatred. They hate Israel. They want to get rid of Israel.
Mhm.
And so they don't want this whole Trump plan in Gaza because they don't want to lose their power in that region.
Oh my goodness.
The more
So what if they did attack Israel and destroy Israel? Then what would happen? They would win.
won't.
They that's all they want. So what would happen?
It's
after
just to
that?
wipe them out.
well,
Yeah.
they want to just destroy Israel and wipe them
Yeah.
off the map.
Yeah.
And that's why, but that's,
Just be
remember,
happy.
God put his name in Jerusalem
Mhm.
and it's never going to happen. They will never succeed in wiping out Israel. Won't happen.
Mhm.
It
I'm just
prophecy
wondering
tells
if it
us
would
that.
bring peace
If they
if
would
it
destroy.
ever did happen.
Well, if they
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 did.
were to succeed in destroying Israel, then at least there would be peace in that area. Yeah. But then they would go on for their conquest of the world, which is part
Oh,
of their
yeah.
prophecy anyway.
yeah, so it wouldn't end.
No,
It wouldn't
end.
stop anything. No, not at all. No way.
They would be victorious, but then they wouldn't.
Oh,
They
then-
would be unsettled again, and then they
and
would
then
be
they'd
like,
be emboldened to go after the rest of the
Yes.
world. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, it wouldn't stop anything. That's for sure.
No.
And then a little change of
What is
subject.
it, dope?
Trump talking about abolishing the Department of Education.
Oh.
This is the monster propaganda machine that has brainwashed all of our kids.
Well, he wants to put it back to the state.
I know, but it would probably, to take all that wokeism mandated by the
Yeah,
federal government
yeah,
out,
Yeah.
and bring it back to just teaching them actual true history and
Yeah.
teaching them skills
Yeah.
that they can use instead of all it is right now is a big propaganda machine. It doesn't
is.
even teach our kids anything useful. It's just a big propaganda machine to brainwash them. It's horrible.
And our school system too is about passing these stupid tests. Why don't they just leave that alone and just teach them?
I know.
Why?
Yeah. And then, there's just so much to say about that.
Yeah, there's a lot to say.
It's
Homeschool.
horrible what they're doing.
I wish
Yeah.
I could have I wish I
Yeah.
would have knew
What you
thought
know
better.
now.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
just kind of said, you know what, I think I'm just going to homeschool.
Yeah. I wish that for my kids too, because even back, when my kids were in grade school and middle school and high school, it was already getting bad.
Oh yeah. I know. That was only 20 years ago.
I know.
This is not a good time
Yeah.
to have kids. Ugh.
Well, now it'd be
No,
like there would be
not
no
now.
way I would let my kids go to school.
Yeah. But it's not a good
Trying
time
to-
to bring children into the
not
world.
not only saying it's okay to completely maim yourself for life, but encouraging and trying to secretly do it to them is
Yeah.
the most
Against
horrendous
parent,
thing
yeah.
in the world.
Yeah.
When I was watching the news the other day, I saw on there where a mother was so ticked because she had her child was totally convinced by a teacher at school that she was not female.
Right. Yeah.
And
That's
it's like,
what they're
how
doing.
dare you teach my child something without asking me about it?
That's
but that's what
exactly
they're
right.
doing. And remember, they've passed laws in some states where they don't have to tell the parents
Yeah.
anything.
California is a big one.
Yeah. I think Washington State was one that just passed a
Colorado.
law.
Colorado's another really, really
It's like they can
state.
secretly trans your children without even telling you about it. It's just wow. We need to abolish this entire thing.
I know.
Fire everybody and start over. Yeah.
Right.
This is so bad.
Or just return it to the state. Let the states decide and get government out of our schools.
But most of the teachers that have been hired over the last couple decades are all woke. And so we need to fire them all and get them all out of our schools and away from our kids.
I don't think it should be up to the state, because otherwise you're going to be one of those states where they're teaching your kids the wrong things, the wrong values. And there's nothing
you have the opportunity to move, but that's a big thing. Yeah.
Move out of state. Yeah.
And there is no way God is okay with this insanity, this horrendous mangling of children. What did Jesus say? He said it'd be better for a millstone to be hanged around your neck and tossed into the sea than to harm a child. God is very angry about these things. And then this was a very good little video I watched. The surprising religious origins of the woke movement. It's really a war against Christianity, is where the roots of all of this, and it even communism, Gnostic, and Satanism in the early developing of this. I put the link there. I'm not going to show it, but in case anyone wants to watch it, it's the Epoch Times. If you've got an account there, you can look up this video. It's very good. Watch. But that's, the origins of the whole entire woke movement was really made a war against Christianity. So, yeah. Iran blasts the Arab Gaza plan, calls for a one-state solution, which, you know what that means, right? Israel doesn't exist. It's a state of Palestine. That's what they want. Yeah. Well, and we know it's not going to happen. Biblical prophecy says that Israel is going to exist until Christ returns. God put his name in Jerusalem. The old city of Jerusalem still has paving stones that Jesus walked on. They're going to be there when he returns.
Yeah.
I wish I could walk there.
I know.
That was one of the most awesome things when I visited Israel was walking in the old city of Jerusalem and knowing that Jesus walked on these very paving stones. It was just awesome. Yeah. And then Trump's, warning we're down to the final moments with Iran, that what's going on with them is just, they refuse to even talk to Trump, and they're escalating their uranium refining and to create a nuclear bomb. And it's like, there are so many boiling points in the world right now.
Yeah,
it's just crazy. The IDF, we talk about Judea and Samaria being that's where Hamas has moved to. Hamas didn't really move there. They've always been there, but they were mainly based out of Gaza. But now they're doing all of their attacks out of Judea and Samaria. The IDF found a weapons depot, an explosive lab in Samaria.
That's right there.
That's just the other side of Israel.
Not over any border. They're in Israel.
Yeah. It's not the same as Gaza.
Oof.
There's actually Jews and Muslims living in the same area there. This is another video. It's really good. Yusuf, the son of Hamas's founder, is an ex-Muslim Christian, and he just says it like it is. This is why the Arab countries refuse Palestinian refugees. Like, why won't any of the neighboring Arab countries take any Palestinian refugees, right? Lebanon, Egypt, none of them want to take any of these refugees. And it's the same reason they don't want the Gaza deal. They want their own Gaza deal because they don't want Israel, for one, to look like the good guy. They don't want to take refugees and make Israel look good in any way, shape, or form. And they don't want their Palestinian cause to die because it's all about Islamization of the world. And this is a power point for them. This is a region of, volatility that they can use for their advantage in Islamicizing the world.
Are we going to watch this little video?
No.
Oh,
now we're getting too low on time here. I've got a video I wanted to show you guys, but I don't know if I'm going to play it because we're running out of time. But I've got a link to it. But you can certainly look that up too. And this is the one that I was going to play, and it's about 9 minutes long, and it talks about why the genocide lie about Gaza, and he really goes into. This is a U.S. Special Forces veteran, right? Talking about what I've been telling you all along is that, the Hamas operatives there use women and children as human shields. And they put their bases under hospitals and under schools so that they can then, if the civilian gets hurt, they can scream, "Oh, look, you killed civilians," even though they don't care. And I think we've got enough time. I'm going to go ahead and play it for you because this is a very, it's very informative. It's about 9 minutes long, but it's worth a play here. I'm going to play it for you.
If feet are numb and the sensation won't go away, do this 30 seconds.
Let me get rid of the ad first, and then say no thanks, and then let me stop this video. Get it over here where you can see it. All right. Let me go full screen. And like I said, it's about 9 minutes long, but it's a really good. So we'll just play the whole thing here.
Seen some urban combat, I'm guessing. People like us who've never been in that situation, I hear, I have my own views on it and having sort of read and listened and whatever, but ultimately I've never been there. People talk about what's happening in Gaza and they say, it's genocide, it's this, it's that. And then other people say, well, look at the civilian to combatant death ratio. Actually, this is the most humane operation in history. What do you make of all of that?
I think the people that are calling it genocide are either being intentionally dishonest or don't know what the word genocide means. I think that's very intentional on their behalf. When it comes to civilian casualties, there's a lot of people that like to do what I call Excel spreadsheet fighting. And what they do is they look at the Excel spreadsheet with Israeli military capability and Hamas military capability and say, why do they need to do all of this? Look at how much more powerful they are. The reason why asymmetric warfare exists is when you have a weaker force that is attempting to utilize the strengths of the stronger force against them. So they're putting themselves in the best advantage possible. So I did a video on this. We have a program called the Y Minutes, and we talked about what is Hamas's strategy. And one of the questions that I asked when I looked at this from a strategic standpoint is, okay, so Hamas knew when they went into Israel that they weren't going to overthrow Israel. When they took hostages, they knew that the IDF was coming for them. And yet they did both, right? So they knew they couldn't defeat the IDF militarily. And they knew getting hostages would force the IDF to come after them in a big way. So why'd they do that? And how did they know that Western academia and media would almost instantly be on their side? And the reason why is because a lot of these organizations have invested very, very heavily within America academia. I don't know the numbers for European academia, but I'm assuming it's probably significant. At the same token, they understood that the way that you manipulate Western media and Western sensibility is civilian casualties. Because even though we can look at our own histories, whether it's the firebombing of Dresden or dropping atomic weapons on Nagasaki and Hiroshima, we've certainly been able to get over our problem with civilian casualties, but we also pride ourselves in attempting to avoid them to the extent possible and reasonable. Urban warfare makes it incredibly difficult to do that, because the fight now is not my smart weapon against your AK-47. The weapon is now my guys, and the strategic advantage is they have aerial oversight and they have body armor, right? And night vision, maybe, right? But they can buy night vision for $5,000 on the black market. So it's not like Hamas can't have access to that. And so now, if you're in a position where you benefit strategically from civilian casualties, you have the perfect environment to maximize that in a way that no other military can mitigate other than giving up. Because if I have to, I've been in that environment where you are kicking in multiple doors to try to get to your bad guy, and every other room there's women and children. And we go through an incredible level of training in order to make sure that you hit the right target. But that's a complex environment, especially when that one time women, kids moving on, and then the 12-year-old picks up an AK-47 and starts shooting. Is that a civilian casualty, or is that a military age male?
Jeez.
Well, in that moment, that's a military age male. You're shooting at me. That's not how it's going to be reported by Hamas to CNN, who will dutifully report X number of children killed on the objective. So what is considered reasonable mitigation of civilian casualties? Well, it isn't warning everybody ahead of time that I'm going to go into your neighborhood. It certainly isn't calling them on their cell phones ahead of time and saying, hey, we're about to attack this area.
Which is what Israel did.
It isn't doing drones where you bring stuff down going, please leave the area, we're about to attack this house. And yet the IDF is doing those things. I'm sorry, but there is no measurement that we can utilize with respect to how militaries engage in combat operations with a legitimate and honest attempt to mitigate civilian casualties and not come to the conclusion that at the very least the Israeli ground forces have gone above and beyond whatever those standards might be. And so at this point, what an honest media would be asking is, why do you insist on keeping women and children in combat zones? Hamas is not confused about where Israel is going to go. Why won't they move them out of the areas? Why do they keep them in those areas? Why do they insist that they stay? And another video we did a while back was we asked the question on why don't more Arab countries accept Palestinian refugees? The answer is they used to. And then Palestinian refugees sided with Saddam Hussein when he invaded Kuwait. They tried to overthrow the Jordanian government. They did help destabilize Lebanon. They've caused problems within Egypt. And so it's not that it's not that I am trying to minimize civilian casualties when they take place, but I think it's absurd to rationally look at what is going on the ground right there and then come to the conclusion that Israel's just saying, if Israel wanted to genocide Gaza, they could. And it wouldn't have taken them this long. They didn't. Now let's ask the reverse question. If Hamas would have had the strength on October 7th to do everything it wanted to do, would Israel still be here? We know what they do. I visited the music festival. I visited some of the kibbutz. I'm not confused about what they would do with similar power.
If you are the owner or manager
Seriously? All right.
of a building with a flat top roof,
I'll skip it here. Sorry about that.
And so that's the part where I get frustrated by this, because again, I understand Americans that are saying it's Israel's war, not ours. I get that. I get it when they say it's Ukraine's war, not ours. And I do believe that, again, we should think strategically about what our involvement is going to look like. But I also think that we shouldn't engage in this kind of moral relativism where it's just, well, it's just not our problem. Okay, not primarily. But Hamas actively seeking, targeting, and killing women and children because they believe it's perfectly morally justified, taking hostages. I'm looking at some of the people on the right, too, that are talking about this, especially some of the tough guys on the right. And I'm like, if it was your kid in Israel right now, you would not be calling ahead to see, hey, just wanted to let you know we're going to be coming in. You'd be kicking doors and beating the living piss out of people. So spare me your moral outrage when Israel wants to do the same thing. I once did the numbers. I was like, okay, if Mexico crossed into Texas, killed 40,000 people and kidnapped another 1,500 to 2,000.
What would they do?
And then the EU called for the United States to engage in discretion and a ceasefire.
Yeah.
I can tell you how quick we told
Yeah.
them to go F themselves
Yeah.
before we went down there and proceeded to demonstrate to everybody in the world that that was a really bad idea.
Exactly.
So I don't want, look, I don't want Palestinians to die. I don't want Israelis to die. But if one side gets to continually engage in terrorist operations and start wars with the rest of the world just immediately calling for a ceasefire the moment you hit back, that's absurd. And what you've actually done, what the West has taught Hamas, is that the more civilian casualties you get, the more funding you get, and the more support you'll get. We've incentivized them killing their own civilians, meaning that they not do that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was worth a watch, wasn't it?
Yes.
That was good. You know, that just tells you the reality of that situation there. You know, it's just it's so backwards the way the media portrays it.
They know that we're going to feel bad and go, no, we'll lay down our weapons then. Just don't kill women and children.
Yeah, it's so, the world has literally gone crazy. It's so bad. It's insane what we allow, and it's weird. Yeah, but this is the guy we're watching.
From Syria.
Abdul, or what's his name? I forget now. Ahmad. I think he's calling himself.
No. I don't remember.
I think it's Ahmad. But yeah, he changed his name, so I don't remember. It's some, you know, he's the new terrorist in a suit that is, you know, was put into power.
All of these,
and remember,
Islamic kings and princes and stuff are starting to wear suits. Like, look at Abdullah.
Yeah.
Not Abdullah. Yeah, Abdullah.
King Abdullah, but he's been wearing
Jordan
suits for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they have their robes and their
Erdogan too.
Their turbans and stuff, but they do wear suits in some situations.
It's like,
but yeah, this guy's
like we're gonna
terrorist
like
in a
him
suit.
more because he's in a suit.
And you know who this is, right? The UN Secretary General. The United Nations is legitimizing this terrorist that took over a country with a gun. You know, like, I'm telling you, this guy did not just walk in there and take over with a gun. He was put there.
Well, that's what they were planning to do with
him and all his other people that are.
Well, they tried to do that
society.
with Kamala.
Well, yeah,
she was the
they
one
tried
they
to
put
install
there
her as president. Yeah.
because she was going to be on the world stage as someone who was put into power.
Yeah, they tried, but thank God that Trump
God's
won.
like, nope, I got something else in mind.
Yeah, because you know, if that would have happened in the month and a half, 2 months that Trump has been able to accomplish what he's done, the month and a half, in a month and a half, she would have this country would be going down the toilet big time. Yeah.
But God said no because he knows what's going to happen.
And everything's going to happen exactly as God said. It's all going to play out exactly as the biblical prophecy said it would. And we're watching it. Yeah. We're watching all of these things. All of the little puzzle pieces are moving into place. And it's just absolutely fascinating to watch. Here's another little short video that I'm about done. There's a couple other things.
What is that one right there?
So Trump, under Biden, Zelensky took money out of the U.S. like candy from a baby, you know, and, you know, he's holding Zelensky accountable. And I really like how he's playing hardball with Zelensky because Zelensky just came over here expecting to get some more candy. And, you know, he all of a sudden had to talk to a real man. Yeah, and
Oh.
he was,
And then immediately started going to Europe and UK and all those other,
and then but
with
now
his
he's
hand out.
coming crawling
France.
back because he realizes he needs the U.S.
Macron.
But Trump's not standing for it. Yeah. So, but he's not making much headway with Putin either. So I'm not too excited about what's happening there, but we'll see. This is another. I don't know. It's a former anchor of some news. It'll be on the thing when you see it, but it's kind of a woke news agency. But she's former, probably because of her views and her standing up for. She's talking about how these social activists are ignoring Syria. There's massacres in the Congo, the massacres in Syria. It's only a couple minutes long, so let's take a look at this one too.
Aaron Molan.
That's Sky News, yeah.
Sky News.
Which is kind of a woke news agency right now.
Aaron Molan.
Yeah, Molan. Aaron Molan. Come on, you gonna load up or not?
Molan.
No, I am not.
Mulan.
For some reason, it is not loading the video. Well, maybe I won't play it. For some reason, it should be coming up here, but it's just not loading. So try a different browser. Maybe it just doesn't like
you. Maybe it doesn't like you.
Or maybe it doesn't like Edge. Yeah, it probably just doesn't like me. You're right. Let's see if this works. No, I'm not going to set you as my
we
default.
know who you are.
Come on, you can do it. Well, maybe I won't play this for you. I don't know what's going on. Why it won't work.
Spinning. Why can't you just click the arrow?
Here's a X. Okay, I've got it here. I've got it on X actually. So
yeah, right there.
There it is. So
I've just been looking at some of the most horrific images of children in Congo, Christian children who have been slaughtered. Over 100 people slaughtered. In fact, there's so many that they're stacked in the back of a van, and you can see their little feet and blood. These kids have been slaughtered. And then I'm looking at Syria, where they're hunting down minority groups, where they're torturing people, where they're shooting elderly people in the head, where they're making men go on the floor and bark, and then they're shooting them. And no doubt children have been killed. It's a bloodbath there. So then I'm going to all the people, the accounts, the human rights advocates, the feminists, all those who accuse me of not caring about kids in Gaza because I want to eliminate the terrorists who are responsible for their deaths. And there's nothing. There's nothing there. I fight for all children. I fight for every child everywhere when I stand up against terrorism. You fight for one group of children and not even, because you are agenda-driven and your hate for a group of people is far greater than any love you have for children. Where are your posts? Where's your outrage? Where are your marches? Those poor babies in Congo, elderly people in Syria, where are your marches? I've shed tears for children in Gaza. I speak about children in Gaza weekly, and you accuse me of having white woman tears. You accuse me of only caring about kids if they're not brown. Well, I care about kids in Congo, and I care about kids in Syria. Why don't you? Your feeds are empty.
Where
Why?
are you?
A baby in Congo suffers just as much as a baby anywhere else. Being shot or slaughtered hurts just as much in Congo, in Syria, in Gaza, in Israel. It hurts the same. They're all babies. They're all human. Where are you?
Mm-hmm.
I'm here. I'm talking about it. I do every week. I talk about kids in Gaza every week. I talk about Israeli kids. I talk about Jewish kids. I talk about kids in Congo. I talk about innocent people in Syria. Where are you?
Yeah.
And that's, that is so typical of mainstream media and
They get on
social
some
activists.
bandwagon.
And, it's like, do you really care about children
No.
or not?
Mm-mm. They care about the
Well, they
cause.
wanna
They
be-
care about
they
the
wanna be
group they are
right.
on.
Yeah. And it's, we care about every lost soul, every child, every person in every nation, everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
We're not about a cause, or, we're about God. We're about the Lord Jesus Christ and helping those people, all of them, to learn about Jesus and be saved and have the opportunity to live forever with God in the new universe, the new heavens and the new earth, where there'll be no more pain and no more sorrow. And God is going to wipe the tears from our eyes and there'll be no more death. It's going to be literal bliss forever. And the more people that we can help to know the truth, the more will be there with us on that day when Christ returns. And these stupid, idealistic, activist, mumbo jumbo junk is of the world and is just stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to think on things of God. And think about these poor children and the horrendous evil that's being enacted against human beings all over the world. But the news ignores all of that.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go to very specific alt news to even find out about all the deaths in the Congo and in Nigeria. They don't talk about that at all on the mainstream media.
Mm-mm.
This world is a horrible, sick place. And, one of the things that I've brought up before is, when we look at Genesis chapter 6. I'm going to show you again, because God, he saw the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually.
Mm-hmm.
And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And Jesus told us that it would be as the days of Noah in the last days when he returned. And what do you think God is doing right now? How do you think God feels right now? He's grieved at his heart.
Mm-hmm.
He's, one of the things I was thinking about the other day, I made a note to bring up is, if you've ever been in a situation, like I'm 63 years old, I've been around the block a few times, I've done a few things in my life, and there's been situations that I knew were going to be bad, that I knew I was gonna feel pain. And I did it because it was necessary. But when it happened, even though I knew it was going to happen, I still felt that pain.
Mm-hmm.
I still felt that grief and that heartache.
Mm-hmm.
God knows everything. God knows what's going to happen. He's told us the end of the story, and it's awesome. But God still feels the pain. He still feels the heartache. He still feels the grief. He can't even stand to look at the world because of the wickedness of man. And he feels that grief in his heart.
I can imagine him looking down on us going, I made you, and instead of being thankful, you turn on me.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what, this entire existence is a testing ground to see who will be God's in the end, who will live with him into eternity, because he tells us that he's going to dwell among us, that he will be our God, and he will be our God, and we will be his people, and he's going to dwell with us. And he's going to wipe away our tears, and there's going to be no more death, nor sorrow, nor crying, or any more pain. It's going to be a literal existence of bliss that we can't even, as human beings who live in this corrupt world, can't even imagine a life without pain and sorrow. But that's what God has promised us. And people say, well, if I remember, I'm going to be sad. Well, God says he's going to wipe our tears from our eyes. He loves us that much. He's grieved at his heart, and he's suffering through all this wickedness in the world so he can save you and I. That's how much he loves us. I think I had a meme to share, and then I'm going to close it out.
Yeah, that was
another memory from Facebook. Yeah. I'd rather be with 10 people who are on fire for God than 1,000 who just want to play church.
And I posted it and said, or 4.
Yeah, right.
Us 4.
Yeah. And that's why, I'm always going to call everyone listening, become a soldier in this army. I'm not here to gain followers. I'm not here to gain monetization. I'm here to tell the truth. I'm here to be a soldier in the army of God. And I'm asking for anyone who really loves God to join us. There's something anyone and everyone can do to help the ministry, to help the army of God, to gain more for God, to assist in the kingdom of God. If God's calling you, reach out to me. I'm going to put a banner up here. It has my websites, my email address, X account, channels, Isaiah 6:8. Also, I heard the voice of the Lord saying, who shall I send, and who will go for us? And then said, here am I, Lord, send me.
Yep.
We need more people to fight in this war.
Yeah.
Join us.
The godly woman, godly wife does not belong to him. Just in case
it's my
you're
wife.
new.
Yeah. That's her Facebook page.
Like,
But,
wait, this dude has a godly woman, godly wife page. No.
And then, this was just another thing, but let none of you suffer as a murderer or a thief or as an evildoer. And, you think about murderers and thieves and evildoers, but then, or as a busybody in other men's matters. We need to mind our own business. We need to mind the business of God. And we need to just get out of things of the world and leave all that behind and do the work of God. It was just another thing as I was reading scriptures earlier, I thought of that. And that's just such a good point. Let's do the work of God. Let's be a soldier in the army. Nothing else matters. I mean, seriously, what else matters? When you understand the truth, when you understand that this is just a temporary situation, it's just for God to get a people for himself, to weed out the bad ones and keep the good ones. That's what he's doing. He's the potter, as it tells us in the Old Testament. He's the potter, and he's making pots. And if there's a cracked pot, well, he just throws that one away. He's going to keep the good pots. He's a husbandman planting a field. He's letting it all grow together so that he can save as much of the good as possible. That's what he's doing. If you're here listening to this, the Lord is calling you. I pray you heed that call. Let's pray and we'll say goodbye. We're a little over time already. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for your great patience, for your long suffering, for your mercy and grace, Lord. Help us to reach more people. Help us to find more for your kingdom, Lord. Bring more soldiers. In your name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Okay, so Tim, Jody, and Jay.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
And for all the other people, we have many more people that are just listening in, and we just want to say we really appreciate you very, very much for being in here and supporting the channel, learning and hearing the truth.
So we love you all.
Yeah, we love you guys.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
You know, most podcasters are here to monetize, to make money. Even if they say they're from God, even if they say they're from God, they want to make money on God instead of just giving it away for free. You know, we are here to just give the truth. That's all we care about.
Yes. So would you kindly smash that like button? Give it a big thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel if you're on YouTube. And if you're not on YouTube, please make sure you're following us on Rumble. You can also go to the website, which the banner is displaying right now, to watch the videos from there too. So there's several different places. We have libraries of videos on all three of those places.
Several websites, several channels.
Right.
Yeah. And you know, YouTube's going to be banning us sooner or later.
Yeah, YouTube's going to be going away. So
make sure you follow us on Rumble or go to
Right.
videos.prophecyandtruth.com and subscribe there on my private website. And you can watch all of our videos there. You can watch the live streams direct from there. Check out my X account. You know, help us to fight this war.
So make sure you share this video, copy the URL and plaster it everywhere you can, in emails everywhere. Make sure you share it.
That's the first way you can help us fight this war.
And also make sure that you pass the word out to all your people that we are going to be doing the Revelation study. We do not have a date yet. Whenever he decides in the next week or two, we'll be starting that. And we will give you at least a week, of course, to start preparing and invite people to listen to it. Make sure you turn on the notification bell so you do not miss any great videos. We have Jody, who we love and appreciate. She is working on a video right now. My sister has just finished 12 of the series of all the signs. Yep, all the signs.
And when is the end of the world playlist?
Right. And right now she is working on a blooper. Okay, so Jody says, amen. Thank you guys. Love you. We love you very much, Jody. Tim said, good evening, all. Thank you for showing up, Tim. We love you so much. Jody says, not sure what happened. I lost volume. Have a great night. Love you guys. Oh, I don't know.
Hopefully it didn't lose volume. on
I
everything.
know. Well, it could be her
Oh, volume. Weird.
volume.
Hmm.
So,
Oh.
Sissy, I love you.
I love you.
Please call me or text me or leave me some kind of message to let me know how everything goes tomorrow. And Jody, I will be sending out your prayer soon tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank you once again for being here with us, Diane.
Yeah, we
I
love
always
you very
appreciate
much.
you
Happy to
being
be
here.
here.
Girl, you know we love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we love you
guys.
all. God bless you, and we
We're
will see
getting off
you
here
on Wednesday.
And be here next Wednesday.
Be there or be square.
Yeah. Bye.